Think about the last time you were like sitting in a video meeting and someone proposes a project timeline that you just know is absolutely going to fail.
Oh, we've all been there.
Right. But instead of actually speaking up, you just mute your mic, maybe smile and nod along.
Yeah, you give the thumbs up emoji.
Exactly. And then you immediately go and complain about it to a coworker on Slack. So did that initial tension actually go away? Or did it just, go underground?
It never goes away. I mean, we convince ourselves that ignoring it or like venting privately is the professional thing to do.
Because we think we're keeping the peace.
Right, but the reality of human dynamics is that unaddressed tension doesn't just evaporate, it metamorphoses into something way harder to deal with.
And that is exactly what we are tearing apart today. We're doing a deep dive into a new article from the Phoenix Performance Partners. It's titled, "Conflict Isn't the Problem Avoiding, It Is."
It's a great read.
It really is. So our mission for this deep dive is to give you, the listener, a clear shortcut to understanding the psychology of workplace tension. We want to show you how to take that everyday friction you probably dread and literally turn it into a development engine for your team.
Yeah, and to kind of set our baseline for today, there's this quote in the source material from William Ellery Channing that frames this perfectly.
Oh, I love this quote.
It's so good. He wrote, "Difficulties are meant to rouse, not discourage. The human spirit is to grow strong by conflict."
Wow.
Right. But taking that quote to heart requires a monumental shift in how we usually operate in corporate environments.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to focus on why that shift is so necessary. We tend to think avoiding conflict is just a neutral act. Like, I didn't make it better, but hey, I didn't make it worse.
But you did make it worse.
Exactly. The article talks about this hidden compounding cost of avoidance. Can you walk us through what's actually happening when we bite our tongues?
Yeah. So when you avoid a necessary confrontation, you're initiating this slow drain on organizational energy. It rarely results in a massive sudden explosion, right?
It's not like a movie.
No, it's way more insidious. It's erosion. It costs a little bit of trust in one interaction, then it costs a degree of candor in the next team meeting.
Because people just stop sharing their best ideas.
Exactly. They don't want to rock the boat. And ultimately, this results in stalled decisions. You get these major initiatives that just float in purgatory because everyone is like tiptoeing around the core issue that nobody wants to name.
So it's absolutely not a neutral act.
Yeah.
Listening to you describe that erosion, it sounds almost like having a leaky pipe behind the drywall in your house.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Right. Like you look at the wall, it looks completely fine. Maybe there's a tiny watermark, but you ignore it or you just paint over it because you really do not want to deal with the hassle of tearing down the drywall today.
Because who has the time?
Exactly. But you don't see the water that is slowly, day by day, rotting the actual structural foundation of your team's trust. By the time that wall eventually caves in, the damage is catastrophic compared to what it would have been if you just grabbed a wrench when you first saw the spot.
That is a perfect visualization.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here is that this leads to the core reframe proposed by the source. Most leaders treat conflict as something to survive.
Like it's a bug in the system.
Exactly. We view it as a glitch.
Yeah.
But the article asks us to look at it this way. Conflict is simply two people caring about something and seeing it differently.
Just caring differently.
Yeah. I mean, if they didn't care, there wouldn't be any tension at all. So this friction isn't a threat to a healthy team. It is literally the raw material of a growing one.
That completely flips the script on how we evaluate our teams. So if someone is fighting you on a product launch date, it's not because they are inherently difficult, it's because they're highly invested in the outcome.
Apathy is the real threat. Conflict is just energy. If we shift our perspective to see it as raw material, then handled well, that exact tension you're dreading becomes the precise location where development happens.
Okay, let's invent a scenario to anchor this for everyone. Imagine we have Sarah, a marketing director, who needs a massive campaign out by June to hit her quarterly goals. And we have David, the product manager, who knows the new software feature won't be stable until August. They both care deeply about the company, but their timelines are totally colliding.
So Sarah and David have this leaky pipe. They've got tension.
Right. But even if Sarah reads this article and she realizes that conflict is the raw material for growth, why is she still so likely to fail when she brings it up to David? Like, these conversations notoriously go off the rails.
Because handling it well starts long before Sarah ever opens her mouth. The article emphasizes what we could call the inner game, mental prep. Before initiating a hard conversation, you have to pause and ask yourself a deeply honest question. Am I coming into this from a place of partnership or a place of superiority?
Oof. Superiority is a heavy word. I mean, I don't think anyone consciously walks into a meeting thinking, I am superior to David.
Well, we disguise it from ourselves. We frame it internally as, being helpful or setting the record straight.
Oh, totally.
But you have to brutally assess your own motives. Are you walking in there to fix this person? Are you trying to win the point and prove that your timeline is the only logical one?
And that's superiority.
Exactly. The alternative, the partnership angle, means you're walking in genuinely curious about what they're seeing that you're missing.
But wait, I have to challenge this on behalf of everyone who has ever sat through a corporate HR workshop.
Go for it.
What if Sarah is incredibly stressed and entirely convinced she's right, but she just, memorizes all the perfect, polite, HR-approved phrases? She uses the gentle I statements. She does the active listening head nods.
A classic playbook.
Right. If she says all the right words, doesn't that mitigate the conflict? Like, if she's impeccably polite, who cares what her internal state is?
The reality of human psychology and neuroscience shoots that strategy down entirely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We are incredibly perceptive creatures, particularly when it comes to social threats. Our brains evolved to detect subtle shifts in tone, microexpressions, body language, just to keep us safe.
So the script doesn't matter.
People sense the answer beneath your words within seconds. Sarah can use every textbook conflict resolution phrase in the world, but she will completely lose David if her underlying energy is, I've already decided your August timeline is ridiculous.
So David's brain is going to feel the judgment radiating off of her no matter how much she sugarcoats the vocabulary.
Think about a time someone gave you so-called constructive feedback, but you just intuitively knew they were talking down to you.
Oh, immediate red alert. Defense is way up.
Exactly, regardless of their polite word choice. The framework we're going to get into only works if you bring genuine curiosity to the table. If you've already closed the case in your mind, honestly, do not bother having the conversation yet.
You have to actually want to know why they see it the way they do, which is, frankly, incredibly hard when your cortisol is spiking and you just want to get your way.
It's so hard.
Which brings up a huge question. If Sarah really does want to partner with David, why does her brain make it so difficult in the moment? The source talks about these hidden psychological traps we fall into when we're under pressure.
Yeah, so when tension spikes between Sarah and David, the amygdala, a part of the brain responsible for detecting threats, basically takes over.
Right, the amygdala hijack.
Exactly. It completely bypasses the prefrontal cortex, which handles our logic and rational thought. In that moment, the brain prioritizes immediate safety over collaborative logic.
It's literally fight or flight in a conference room.
And the article outlines 4 distinct default behaviors that dictate how different people are unconsciously wired to react and find safety under that tension.
Okay, let's break down these 4 defaults. And for you listening, really try to spot which one is your go-to move when things get heated.
It's very revealing.
The first one the article identifies is the take charge default. This one is all about control. When tension hits, your immediate instinct is to push for a fast resolution before you even fully understood the other side.
The take charge person feels intense internal discomfort with ambiguity or unresolved issues. So their brain says the fastest way to feel safe is to just end this.
Speed above all else.
Right. Their goal becomes speed. If Sarah is a take charge default, she might steamroll David's perspective, forcefully mandate the June deadline, and just demand he make it work. All to get the tension off her desk.
The classic meeting adjourned, make it happen move. Wow. Okay, the second default is keep comfortable, which prioritizes connection. If this is you, you might over-accommodate. You basically bury the real issue just to protect the relationship in the short term.
The mechanism here is a fear of social rejection. The tension feels too dangerous to the interpersonal connection.
So they just cave.
Yeah. If David has a keep comfortable default, Sarah pushes for June, and David just yields. He says, sure, we'll figure it out, even though he knows it's practically impossible.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It's tragic, actually. By burying the issue to protect the relationship, he is slowly poisoning it with resentment when the project eventually fails.
That actually sounds a bit like the third default, but I know there's a crucial distinction. The third one is keep peace, which is anchored in harmony. This is when you just quietly withdraw and let the issue fester.
The difference lies in the action. The keep comfortable person will actively bend over backward, agree with you, and take on the burden just to make the tension stop.
They actively yield.
Yes. The keep peace person, though, simply checks out. Their brain's safety mechanism is arousal reduction.
They just ghost the conflict.
Exactly. They avoid the conversation entirely. They don't bring it up in the one-on-one. They just retreat into silence and hope the conflict magically resolves itself without their intervention.
Which, as we established with the leaky pipe, it never does. And finally, the fourth default is be precise. This one is rooted in accuracy.
Oh, I see this one all the time.
When things get tense, you retreat into arguing over who is technically factually right. You focus entirely on the data and the spreadsheets, and you completely miss the human element of the conflict.
This is a retreat into cognitive safety. If David's default is be precise, he responds to Sarah's pressure by pulling up JRA tickets, quoting development hours, and meticulously proving why August is the mathematically correct answer.
Just burying her in logic.
Right. He wins the data war, but he completely invalidates Sarah's stress about her marketing goals, leaving the relationship totally fractured.
What I love about how the source presents this is the complete lack of judgment. These defaults are not character flaws. They are simply the unconscious patterns running the show when your nervous system feels threatened.
That's the key. By naming your specific default, whether your brain seeks safety through control, connection, harmony, or accuracy, you pull it out of the unconscious shadow and into the conscious light.
You take your power back.
Exactly. If Sarah knows she is a take-charge person, she can feel her heart rate rising, catch herself rushing to mandate the June date, and intentionally hit the brakes. Naming the default allows you to override it and choose a better move.
So once I realize my brain is trying to make me take charge and steamroll this person or run away and keep the peace, how do I actually initiate the conversation?
This is the practical part.
Right. We've checked our emotional state. We are striving for partnership. We've bypassed the unconscious defaults. Here's where it gets really interesting. How do we structure this so it doesn't blow up in our faces?
The article provides a really clear 4-step resolution framework for daily tension. And it is beautifully simple, which is vital because under stress, you will not remember a complex flowchart.
Oh, definitely not. My brain just blanks. Step 1, name the tension without blame. The example from the text is saying something like, I think we're seeing this differently and I'd rather talk about it than let it sit.
It is remarkable how much that phrasing lowers the temperature.
Because you aren't saying you're wrong about the timeline, you're just observing, hey, there's a gap between us right now.
Yeah, it turns the tension into a shared object sitting on the table between you rather than, like, a weapon you're aiming at each other. By acknowledging the elephant in the room calmly, without assigning fault, you paradoxically make the environment feel instantly safer for the other person's nervous system.
That's brilliant. Okay, step 2. Get curious before you get conclusive. You ask what they see, and you have to actually mean it. Help me understand how you're looking at this timeline.
The intention here is gathering a complete picture. Because most people do not listen during a conflict. They just wait for their turn to talk so they can deploy their counter-arguments.
You guilty.
We all do it. They're secretly building a rebuttal in their head while the other person is speaking. But if you're doing that, you've slipped back into the superiority mindset.
Right, you're not partnering.
You must genuinely want to see the puzzle pieces they are holding. Sarah needs to truly listen to why David's engineers need until August, not just listen for the flaws in his logic.
That requires immense discipline. Okay, step 3. Surface the shared goal underneath. Once they've explained their side, you find what you both actually care about. The example is, we both want this launch to land well.
This step is designed to put both parties back on the same side of the table.
But I want to push back on this pretty hard. What if there is literally no shared goal? What if Sarah's only goal is launching in June to get her bonus, and David's only goal is launching in August so his engineers don't quit? I mean, those are mutually exclusive.
Well, you're looking at their strategic positions there, not their underlying interests.
Okay, explain that.
In almost every workplace scenario, the conflict sits on top of a shared foundational desire. It might be a desire for the company to remain profitable, a desire for a fair process, or even just a desire to get through the quarter without burning out.
So you have to dig deeper.
Yes. If Sarah and David dig down past the disagreement on the specific date, they will find agreement. Sarah might say, David, we both want a successful product launch that drives revenue, but we also both want a team that isn't completely burnt out by September. How do we solve for both?
Naming that deeper shared goal is a powerful reset button. I see it now. You go from being adversaries fighting over a calendar date to being teammates solving a resource puzzle.
Exactly, which leads perfectly into the final step.
Right. Step 4, co-create the next step. Not Sarah's solution, not David's solution, but what do we do next, together?
And this is where well-meaning leaders often stumble. They execute the first 3 steps beautifully. They name the tension, they listen, they find the shared goal. But then their take charge default sneaks back in.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they say, great, we both want a successful launch without burnout, so here is the compromise I have decided we are going to execute.
It cannot be a solution handed down from above.
Because if it's dictated, it's just compliance, not partnership.
Exactly. It must be built together. Ownership is the mechanism that makes the growth stick. If David helps build the revised timeline, maybe they agree to a scaled-back soft launch in June and the full feature rollout in August. He is fundamentally invested in its success.
Yes, we've walked through the mechanics of the framework. Name the tension, get curious, surface the shared goal, co-create the next step. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, why go through all this emotional labor for everyday workplace friction?
Yeah, it sounds exhausting, honestly.
Well, when you utilize this framework, you are doing much more than just resolving a single isolated argument about a calendar date. You are modeling for your peers or your direct reports how to handle disagreement constructively.
You're setting the
You're
culture.
teaching them how to regulate their emotions, how to ensure their perspective is heard without being combative, and how to collaborate under pressure.
Yeah.
You are developing what the source calls conflict competence.
I love that phrase. You're essentially giving them the wrench and teaching them how to fix their own leaky pipes in the future rather than just patching the drywall for them every time.
You're building capacity.
Yeah.
You're not just settling an issue, you are developing your people. And in any organizational structure, developing resilient people is the ultimate objective.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? To summarize our deep dive into the Phoenix Performance Partners article, avoiding conflict is going to cost you far more than the conflict itself ever would.
Way more.
It slowly drains trust and stalls your team's progress. But that knot you feel in your stomach when tension arises, it is actually an invitation for incredible development, provided you approach it with intention.
You have to check your ego at the door.
Come from a place of true partnership and recognize your own unconscious defaults, whether you tend to control, yield, flee, or retreat into data so they don't hijack your rational brain.
It's about accepting that the emotional discomfort of the conversation is temporary, but the trust and growth that emerge from working through it together are permanent.
Which brings us to the challenge laid out by the insights in the article. Sometime this week, I want you to pick one conflict you have been actively avoiding.
You already know exactly which one it is.
Oh, totally. The face just popped into your head. Check your emotional state before you walk into the room. Make sure you're genuinely coming from a place of partnership and walk into that tension using the 4 steps.
Name it without blame, get fiercely curious, find the shared goal buried underneath the positions, and co-create a solution.
Watch what happens when a moment you have been dreading becomes the exact place where your relationship actually grows.
And as you go out and apply this, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. This builds on how we redefine this entire concept today.
Let's hear it.
The article defines conflict as simply 2 people caring about something and seeing it differently. It's evidence of investment. So if you manage a team, or if you're part of a department where there is absolutely zero conflict happening,
Yeah.
have you actually achieved a perfectly healthy workplace? Or have you simply created an environment where everyone has stopped caring enough to even disagree?
Wow, that leaky pipe might just be completely dry because the water got shut off a long time ago.
Exactly.
Definitely something to think about. See you next time on The Deep Dive.